Hi everyone! Today I'm going to be showing you how to do a single crochet. A single crochet is the first stitch that I ever learned how to do when I first started learning. On patterns it's normally abbreviated as SC, and this is an example of what it's going to look like. So let's get started. For today's video, I'm going to be using Caron Simply Soft. It's a size 4 acrylic yarn, and I'm also using a 5mm hook. Alright, so in order to recreate this swatch, we're going to start with a slip knot here and chain 21. And the reason we chain 21 is because this swatch is 20 stitches across. With single crochet, you're always going to add one extra chain at the end of your work, and it's called your turning chain. And the reason we do that is because when we start with our chain here, we're going to go up one and then move over, do single crochets in your turning chain, and then single crochet over. So with single crochet, you're always going to add one extra chain at the end of every row. So since we're starting, we want to end up with 20, we're going to chain 21. So if you need a more in-depth explanation on how to do a slip knot in chains, I have a video for that as well. But for the purposes of this video, we're just going to get started and we're going to make 21 chains. Alright, so now we have our 21 chains, and remember you can always count how many chains you have by looking for these little V's and counting them. One V is one chain, so go ahead and count those up and make sure you have 21. We're going to hold our yarn, and the way I like to hold my yarn is by putting the yarn in between my pinky and my ring, above my index, back under my ring finger, and back over, wrap around my index finger. So that's how I like to hold my yarn with good tension. And if you need an explanation on how I do that, I can make another video for you guys as well. So remember, when we start with single crochets, we're always going to have one extra chain at the end of our work. So whenever we start, we're always going to start with the second chain from the hook. So you can see that this is the first chain on the hook, so we're going to start with this one. So you see how it's a little V like that? We're only going to go into this top part of the V. So for the first row of single crochets, skip the first chain, go to the second chain, and you're only going to go through that top loop of the V. So go ahead and stick your crochet hook through. You're going to wrap the working yarn around your hook in front. You're going to make sure that yarn catches on the hook, and you're going to pull it through, again, just on the top part of the V. From there, you should have 2 loops on your crochet hook, and you're going to wrap the yarn around your hook like this. Point your hook down so that it catches, and you're going to pull through both of those loops. So there you have your first single crochet. So let's go ahead and start the second one. So you're going to go into the next chain, and you're going to know it's the next chain because this chain already has the yarn coming out of it. That's the one we just did. So go ahead and go to that second chain. And again, we're only going to be working into that top loop of the V. So you're only going to go in to that top loop, stick your hook through. You're going to bring your working yarn in front of the hook, and you're going to make sure it catches, and you're going to pull it through that hook. And then you're going to have the 2 loops like that. You're going to wrap your yarn around like this and pull it through the 2 loops. So go ahead and keep repeating that until we get to the end of the row, and I'll meet you just a couple stitches right before the end. Alright, so now we're nearing the end of our chain, and your single crochets should look something like this. And you're going to be able to tell how many you've done now. So when we counted our chains, we counted them up like this, but now that we have a foundation of single crochets made, we're going to start counting our chains from the top. So now you can see when you look at it from the top view, you're going to see these little V's. So each of these little V's is a single crochet. So let's go ahead and finish this row together. So this is the second to last one. I'm going to single crochet, and then here is your last chain, and you can tell because the slip knot is right there. So this is the last chain. Go ahead and slip through only the top loop of your V, and here we go. So we just completed this first row like this. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to go up, and we're going to go back around this way. So the way we do that is we're always going to chain one at the end of every row, and we do that because that counts as the turning chain. So once you have that chain one, you're going to flip your work around like this. And so you're going to see your little V's, and you're always going to work from the second chain from the hook. So that's the first one is the chain, the turning chain that you just made. And so this time, now that we're done with the foundation row, we're going to start doing our normal single crochets. And you remember how we only went through the top part of the V for the foundation row? For your first actual single crochet row, and for every row after this, you're going to go through both of the V loops. So you're going to see that this loop has a little space underneath. You're going to stick your crochet hook underneath both of those V's. You're going to see that you have two loops like that on your hook. Before you yarn over, you pull through both of those loops, just like that. So now you still have the two loops on your hook. You yarn over and you pull through two. So let's do that one more time. So we're going on to our second stitch. You see the V, we're going to go through both of those loops. So you're going to go underneath, stick it through, yarn over, pull the yarn under both of those loops. Now you have two loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over and pull through both. Let's do one more together. So you find your V, you're going to stick your hook underneath both of those loops, yarn over, pull through. Now you have two hooks, yarn over and pull through two again. So now you can see, if you look from the top view, you have 3 single crochet stitches. Alright, so now we're nearing the end of our second row, and you should have something that looks like this. And you can see we have just 2 chains left, or sorry, 2 stitches left of our row. So we're going to go ahead and finish that off just the way we've been doing all the other stitches. So you're going to go underneath the 2 loops. Yarn over, pull through. And there you go. That is the end of your second row. Let's go ahead and do just one more. So remember, at the end of every row, we're always going to chain 1 for the turning chain. So you chain 1 before you flip your work over. You look for the little V, second chain from the hook always, and then you're gonna keep going until you finish the end of your row. Whenever you've got your work to your desired length and you are ready to end your project, What you're going to do is you're just going to make that final stitch, finish it off. And what we're going to do is we're going to grab some scissors and be sure to leave a couple inches of yarn so you can weave in your ends later. But what you're going to do is you're just going to chain one in order to finish off your work. Chain one, and that should create a nice secure little knot for you, and you're all done. So go ahead and keep practicing those, and eventually you're going to end up with a swatch that looks like this. If you're having any trouble and you're realizing that your square isn't quite looking like a square, or maybe it's looking lopsided or anything like that, I have a troubleshooting video that I could help assist with some common mistakes that beginners typically make with the single crochet. So if you find that your work isn't looking quite right, you can always check out that video as well. But other than that, it's honestly mostly just a lot of practice. I know it can be a little frustrating in the beginning, but trust me, once you get the hang of it, it's going to start looking really good, and you're going to have nice even stitches like this, and you're going to be able to make so many cool things, so just stick with it. And if you have any questions, just be sure to leave a comment, and I will be more than happy to help you through your crochet journey. Thank you for checking out my video today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you at the next one. Bye!